So welcome to Jumbo IS and welcome to our lecture series called Daily News and Shorts. In this lecture series, we cover a particular day's current affairs in a short span of time. Now, needless to say this because I say this every time, so I'm going to say it again. Just watching this lecture would be job half done because just after watching it, you need to revise it as well. Otherwise, you'll quickly forget these current affairs. Revise these current affairs from the notes provided by us on our Telegram channel. The link to our Telegram channel is provided in the comment section just below this video. Okay? So yeah, that's about it as far as the introduction is concerned. Now let's straight away jump into the lecture. But first, let's take a look at the list of topics that we shall cover today. Okay, so let's begin. So daily current affairs, 23rd September, Tuesday, and here is the topics list. Okay, number one topic that we shall cover is noise pollution in cities. There was this article in Indian Express as well as the Hindu newspaper about the state of noise pollution and how harmful it is in Indian cities. So we'll talk about this. Topic number two is gold's record-breaking rally. Gold's price is breaking all records. Okay, why is this happening? Okay, we'll talk about this. Then the third topic would be small modular reactors for AI data centers. Small modular reactors are nuclear reactors which are small that will provide round-the-clock electricity for data centers that run all AI systems or electronic digital systems in the world. Okay, so India is coming out with a policy for small modular reactors to provide power to AI data centers. So we will talk about this. And in the end, we'll talk about space-related news, astronomical phenomena or astronomical entity called mini-moon or quasi-moon. What is the difference between a mini-moon and a quasi-moon? Okay, so first topic is related to environment portion of your UPSC syllabus. Second topic is related to economics portion of your UPSC syllabus. Third topic is again related to economics, okay, and well, we can also say science and tech. And last topic is completely related to science and tech portion of your UPSC syllabus, okay. So these are the four topics that we shall zero in our attention on. So let's start discussing them one by one, starting with topic number one, and that is noise pollution in cities, okay. Now listen to me carefully. You see, people don't generally realize this, okay, but noise pollution is extremely harmful for our health. Okay, we always talk about air pollution and how harmful it is because air pollution is sometimes visible also. You can see smog in the air, but noise pollution, generally people don't realize this, but noise pollution is equally harmful. Okay, if you are exposed to high levels of sound for prolonged periods of time, okay, it can lead to high blood pressure, hypertension, okay, sleeplessness, cognitive disability. All these things can occur. So prolonged exposure to noise pollution in India's cities can create a public health crisis. Therefore, we need to tackle this. Now, this article in the Indian Express newspaper talks about this. Clear? So let's talk about this. Okay. So noise pollution in cities. Clear? Now, first, well, let's talk about the extent of noise pollution in India's cities. Okay, noise burden. So the thing is that, well, there is this law in our country called Air Prevention and Control of Pollution Act 1981. Under this law, noise is considered a pollutant, air pollutant. So Indian law already recognizes noise as an air pollutant. Clear? Plus, Central Pollution Control Board specifies the amount of noise pollution that, well, you shouldn't be exposed to. Okay, I mean, it has specified the threshold. So in residential areas, okay, in residential areas, the safe limit is 45 decibels in during day, and well, sorry, no, I'm so sorry. It is 55 decibels during day and 45 decibels during night time. Any noise or any sound above this, well, it is noise pollution and harms your, well, body. Clear? So recent surveys have found out that, well, noise pollution has been beyond safe limits in almost all urban areas. Clear? The decibel scale is also not linear. So let's suppose that the safe limit is 55 decibels and in your city it is 65 decibels. So you might think that you are only exposed to an extra 10 decibel, right? But the thing is, an extra 10 decibel means 100 more intensity. Let me explain this. A decibel scale is not linear. A 10 decibel increase means 10-fold rise in intensity. So if the increase is 10 decibels, well, the sound is 10 times. 10 times. So it's not a linear scale. So even 65 is pretty dangerous. Okay. Plus, which types of people are more vulnerable to this? Well, street vendors, delivery workers, traffic police, residents of informal settlements. They are more vulnerable. Clear? Now, this 55-45 is also the limit prescribed by WHO, and it is also the limit prescribed by Central Pollution Control Board. Clear? Now, noise pollution control in India suffers from 3 failures. There is a reason why India cannot control noise pollution, especially in its cities. There are 3 systemic failures. Number 1 failure is that you can monitor air pollution because you have so many sensors all across the cities. So many smog sensors, so many air pollution sensors. But for noise pollution, there are not many sensors available that always measure the amount of noise in India's cities. So inadequate monitoring leaves policymakers blind. They don't know what is the extent of noise pollution in India. Clear? The second is cultural factors. Because, well, there is lack of awareness among people also. People don't consider noise to be a health crisis. Generally, many people are not aware about this. People are aware that smog is bad for health. But as far as noise pollution is concerned, not many people are aware of this, that noise pollution causes health problems, right? That is why there is no outrage among people also. If you are living in areas where there is high noise pollution, people don't mind it. People have learned to live with it. That is why there is no outrage. And when there is no outrage, citizens are not outraged. Well, politicians are also not listening. So there are cultural barriers for enforcement also. People don't realize how harmful noise is. Clear? And then there is fragmented ecosystem. Well, Central Pollution Control Board, State Pollution Control Board, municipalities, okay, municipal corporations, police. There are so many agencies that are responsible for enforcing safe noise levels. And there is lack of coordination among these agencies. So enforcement doesn't take place properly. So this is another problem. So these are the 3 systemic failures in lack of proper enforcement of noise pollution control. Now, what should be the way forward? Okay, so let's quickly talk about this way forward. So first of all, recognition. Recognize that noise pollution is a problem, and that involves making people also aware, making politicians also aware, making bureaucrats, police officials also aware of this problem. Recognize that it's a problem. Then monitor noise levels across cities in India. Monitoring should be important. Then plan your cities in such a way that, well, residential areas have very little noise. So between roads or transport corridors, industrial areas and residential areas, there should be a green belt. This green belt will filter the noise that is generated in industrial areas, right? So urban planning should be there. Governance reforms, so that Central Pollution Control Board, police, municipalities, they have coordination. So you need governance reforms. Plus, make people aware. Swachh Bharat mission was successful because people themselves participated. Okay? People should participate in this. For that, you require community engagement, awareness generation programs. People will participate, people will make sure that these laws are properly enforced, and then you'll be successful. So this is the way forward. Very short news, okay? That's about it. Now let's quickly shift our focus to second news item, and that is, well, gold's record-breaking rally. Now this is again a short news, okay? Recently, and it's not just recently also, for the past many months, gold prices have been skyrocketing. Now, obviously, the reason for increased gold prices is increased demand for gold. Obviously, because the supply of gold is almost limited, okay? Demand is rising for gold, and that is why gold prices are rising, okay? Now, as per your syllabus, okay, as UPSC aspirants, well, they can ask you questions regarding the reasons behind increased demand for gold. Which factors increase the demand for gold and subsequently its price? Okay, you should be aware of this. Only then your economics preparation would be proper. Okay, so it is an economics, this particular news item is part of your economics syllabus, UPS, economics portion of your UPSC syllabus. Okay, so yeah, So you need to be aware of the reasons that drive demand for gold. So we will only focus on that. Clear? So let's talk about this. So gold's record-breaking rally. Okay, so let's talk about the reasons why gold prices are rising. First of all, you need to know this, that gold is considered as a safe haven asset. What do you mean by safe haven asset? Whenever you feel that there is a crisis, you invest your money in gold because gold is considered to be the safest investment, safest asset. Your money can be duped anywhere in the world. You can lose your money anywhere in the world, in any mutual fund, in any share market, in any FD, but not gold. It is the safest asset. That is what people think. That is why, because there are so many geopolitical conflicts, because Donald Trump has initiated this trade war, and that is why people are thinking that the global economic outlook doesn't look well. So people have, well, collected their cash and dumped it into gold, because gold is a safe haven asset. So people are taking money out and investing in gold. This has increased demand for gold. And what has happened? Well, increased demand for gold. Well, increase the prices of gold. So number one reason is safe haven reason. Okay. Number two reason is central bank purchases. Okay. What are central banks? Well, every country has a central bank. Like India has RBI to regulate its entire banking structure and monetary policy. Similarly, other countries have their own central banks. Now, central banks all over the world keep reserves. They keep reserves of money, reserves of assets, so that in future, in case there is an emergency, they can take money out of these reserves to protect themselves. Okay, these are emergency reserves or reserves. Clear? Now, these reserves are made up of assets, which are safe assets, because, well, RBI would like to keep its reserves safe, right? Now, generally, most central banks of the developing world used to keep their reserves in dollars. Dollar is considered the safest currency in the world. So they used to keep their reserves in the form of dollars. Okay. But now, because of Donald Trump's actions and many other reasons, people all over the world are losing confidence in US dollar. That includes central banks as well. Therefore, central banks all over the world have decided to de-risk their reserves. So they are selling their dollars and instead they are buying gold. Okay, they are diversifying away from dollars. Earlier, they had more dollars and less gold in their reserves. Now they are reducing their dollar exposure and increasing their gold exposure. Because like I said again, well, gold is considered to be a safe haven asset. Okay, so this is one reason. Central bank purchases have increased. Then third is weakening dollar. Because dollar is weakening. Remember this, internationally, gold is denominated in US dollars. So 1 ounce of gold is, let's suppose, $50. Okay, so if dollar will weaken, that means 1 ounce will become $70. So automatically it is becoming expensive because dollar is weakening. Clear? And inflation and interest rate outlook. Now listen to me very carefully. This is important. Okay. You see, whenever there is high inflation, you want to save your money from inflation. Okay. Today you have 1 crore rupees and well, your lifestyle can afford 1 crore rupees. But there is high inflation. Everything is becoming expensive. Today you can sustain this lifestyle from 1 crore rupees, but tomorrow everything will become so expensive that 1 crore rupees would also be not enough. Okay, 1 crore rupees won't be enough. Yes, it can happen. So you have to protect yourself from inflation. So you invest these 1 crore rupees in various investment schemes where this money grows. Now, because situation is not good, economic outlook doesn't look good. Because of this situation, people are investing their money in gold. So to hedge against inflation, they invest in gold. Plus, they can't invest in any other schemes like fixed deposit schemes or not because interest rates are already low and they are further going to go low. So interest rates on FD or any other asset is low, right? So people are not investing their money in other assets because their return is low. So they are investing money in gold. And because of that, there is high demand for gold. More price of gold, right? So these are the factors that decide the price of gold or demand for gold. Clear? Make sense? By the way, there are some few facts that you need to be aware of. They are written in your notes. So for example, the recent rise in demand for gold is increased by central banks. Okay, they have started purchasing gold. But if you talk about jewelry demand for gold, well, people's demand for gold for jewelry has fallen in recent times. This is as per the report of World Gold Council. Yes, but people are becoming more investment conscious. So they are not buying gold for jewelry, they are buying gold for investment. They are buying gold bars, gold coins and all that. Plus they are also buying gold ETFs, exchange traded funds. Like mutual funds, there are gold ETFs also. Clear? So these are some of the facts. No question will be asked from this, but just for your awareness, I have mentioned these in your notes. All right, that's about it. Now let's quickly shift our focus to third news item, and that would be SMRs for AI data centers. Okay, now listen to me carefully, very carefully, because if you listen to me for these next 2 minutes, you'll understand this entire issue. Okay, now you see, you all know that AI is on the rise. Okay, AI is like permeating everything you see around you. Do you know that for these AI chips to run or for these AI programs to run, you need huge data centers all over the world? Google has so many data centers, Microsoft has so many data centers, all these AI companies have so many AI data centers, because these data centers actually power your AI programs, AI models, everything, ChatGPT, everything. Okay, so ChatGPT you see at the front, at the back end, these softwares or these AI models are powered by data centers. Now you all know that AI is going to expand in future. Okay, that means you need more data centers because there is high demand for AI. So there will be high demand for data centers. The problem with data centers is that they consume a lot of electricity. They consume a lot of electricity. Okay, and Google and Meta and many other AI companies know that there is high demand for AI. Therefore, well, they need to build more and more data centers. Therefore, they will demand more and more electricity. Yes. Now, these AI companies, well, they have realized that this electricity can either come from thermal power plants like burning coal or renewable energy like solar and wind. Now, if you'll use burning coal for this electricity, well, that would emit a lot of greenhouse gases. Our fight against climate change, well, we will fail that fight. Okay, so climate change is a big issue. So coal-based thermal power plants are out of the picture. Now let's move to renewable energy. So Google and Facebook are thinking that let's invest in solar and wind energy so as to power our data centers. But the problem with solar and wind energy is intermittency. They don't emit greenhouse gases. But solar energy, well, that energy will be produced when the sun is shining. During night time, there won't be any energy. But your data center requires electricity 24/7. Same is the case with wind. When wind is blowing, electricity is produced. But what if your data center requires electricity and the wind is not blowing? That is a problem. These are challenges. Now here comes nuclear power plants, because nuclear power plants do not emit any greenhouse gases and can provide round the clock electricity, right? But nuclear power plants are extremely expensive, extremely risky. Safety is a big thing. That is why these days there is an innovation. People are not building large nuclear power plants. They are building small modular reactors. Small modular reactors or small modular nuclear reactors, they produce nuclear energy, but they are safer, smaller. Okay, so you can use the small modular reactor for powering some data centers only. Okay, they are smaller, safer, they are cheaper also. And well, the technology is also simple. You can easily construct them also. I mean, once you have mastered the technology, manufacturing cost is also not high. So all these companies are experimenting towards small modular reactors. Make sense? Now, recently, Union Ministry of IT has also well said that we are going to bring in reforms so that small modular reactors in India can be established to power India's own data centers, because we want to become a global leader in AI. For that, we need data centers. And for data centers, we cannot rely on solar and wind alone. We have to come up with small modular reactors. And that is what Indian government has indicated, that the new policy towards data centers would allow small modular reactors. Okay, that's the entire picture. Now let's talk about data centers and small modular reactors. Okay, quickly. Okay then. So small modular reactors for AI data centers. So what was in the news? The center is open to exploring the use of nuclear energy to power the data center boom in India, a trend which is already there in USA. Okay, since data centers have massive energy demand, deployment of SMRs, small modular reactors, will provide them with long-term, reliable, carbon-free power supply. Okay, carbon-free power supply can be provided by solar and wind, but not long-term or reliable because there is intermittency. Clear? Now, about data centers, you need to know a few facts about data centers. They're expensive. Okay, 40% of the capital cost of establishing data centers, well, that comes from or that is spent towards electrical systems. But for operating data centers, 65% of the cost of operating data centers goes towards electricity. So once you have established data centers, 65% of the cost for maintaining those data centers would go towards electricity. Power consumption is the biggest cost for data centers. Clear? Thus, companies such as Google and Microsoft with big stakes in AI are signing deals with nuclear power plants. Clear? They require a lot of energy. Now, solar has problems, wind has problems, thermal, well, greenhouse gases. So that is why we have moved towards small modular reactors. As you can see in this picture, well, these are large conventional reactors. Then there are small modular reactors up to 300 megawatt. One plant provides 300 megawatt electricity. And then there are micro nuclear reactors also. We won't talk about them. Okay. Now some features of small modular reactors. Small modular reactors are compact factory built nuclear reactors with outputs under 300 megawatt. Okay. Now they are called small modular reactor for a reason. Every word has a meaning. They are called small. Well, they have significantly smaller footprint, lower power output. They are small, smaller than large reactors. Why are they called modular? Well, they reduce your cost. Well, the thing is, you can build components of this small modular reactor, transport these components to your site where you are going to set up your power plant, and then assemble them over there. So this reduces your transportation cost because you can basically manufacture parts, transport those parts, light parts, and then assemble them on the site. This is what we mean by modular. And reactor, well, they produce electricity from nuclear reactions. Clear? Now, they have many advantages. Carbon free. Okay, they don't emit carbon. Okay, they are cheap to operate. They are safer and many more things. There are many more advantages. Plus, they can provide round the clock electricity. Now, up till now in the entire world, there are only two operational SMRs. One in Russia, one in China. USA is fast building them and India is also moving towards it. Okay, that's about it. And now let's quickly shift our focus to last news item, and that is mini moons and quasi-moons. Now, what do you mean by moon? Earth has one moon, but almost all planets in our solar system, they have their moons. What is a moon? Moon is a natural satellite of a planet. There is a body, small celestial body that revolves around the planet. That is called a moon. If that is a moon, then what are mini moons and quasi-moons? Because recently, Earth has captured many mini moons. Earth has some mini moons. Earth has some quasi-moons. Okay. Now, what are these mini moons and quasi-moons? Plus, what is the difference between each of them, mini and quasi? Clear? Make sense? Now look, mini moons and quasi-moons are not actual moons, they're asteroids. Asteroids are these blocks of or these rocks that are floating in our solar system. Sometimes they are moving in our solar system and Earth's gravity pulls them towards itself and they start revolving around the Earth. So temporarily Earth gets a moon, but it's a very small object, very small rock as compared to our actual moon. These are mini moons and quasi-moons. Okay. So both mini moons and quasi-moons are actually asteroids that are temporarily captured into the Earth's orbit. Make sense? Okay. Now what is the difference between the two of them? Clear? So let's talk about this. So mini moons and quasi-moons. First let's talk about mini moon. So this is a mini moon. So mini moon is actually revolving around the sun, but temporarily it comes under or it is pulled by Earth's gravity. So it revolves around the Earth temporarily and then goes back. So temporarily Earth has a moon. Okay, this is what a mini moon is. So mini moon is not revolving around the Earth, but temporarily it comes close to the Earth, revolves around it, and then goes away after a few weeks. That's a mini-moon. What is a quasi-moon? Quasi-moon is also an asteroid, but it doesn't revolve around the sun. Earth. Well, this asteroid revolves around the sun. This is our sun. So this yellow path is the path of the asteroid. This blue path is the path of Earth. Okay. So a quasi-moon revolves around the sun, not Earth. Earth also revolves around the sun. The thing is that both their orbits are synchronized in such a way that when you view this asteroid from Earth, it appears like a moon. Okay. So this is a quasi-moon. So now you know the difference between mini-moon and quasi-moon. Quasi-moon doesn't revolve around Earth. Mini-moon does, temporarily though. Now, why were they in the news? Because we have discovered two objects, a mini-moon and a quasi-moon. Earth's followers in space are actually categorized as mini-moons and quasi-moons. Mini-moons are temporarily captured by Earth's gravity, orbiting it for a short period before returning to their own solar orbit. The recent discovery was 2024 PT5. And quasi-moons, you all know, the recent discovery was 2025 PN7. That's about it. Okay, that's all you need to know. And that would be all as far as today's current affairs lecture is concerned. So thank you so much for watching, everyone. And I'm sure it has added value to your preparation, but it will add more value if you revise it. Okay, do not forget to revise it. And I shall see you next time with another set of news items. Thank you, everyone.